So, good evening, everybody. My name is Jane Zia. I am in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm hosting this call on behalf of my friend and colleague, Kaye, who is unable to join us live, but I do have the recording that she made earlier, well, in fact, last month with our special guest. So tonight is all about sharing a breakthrough that can change your life. ASEA products have really opened my eyes to a new level of what's possible when looking after our own health. Personally, I take the products prophylactically because my family history suggests that we're prone to getting rogue cells, which unfortunately claimed my dad's life way too early. I know that my genes are not my destiny, and ASEA is a major part of my plans to avoid succumbing to the fate of my father. So before we get started with our special guest and her redox experience, I invite you to think about the following questions as we go through the session. So do you know someone with a health challenge that needs help? And that person may well be you. Would you like to reduce the visible and physical signs of aging? Would you like to have more energy to do what you love? Could it be that you're looking for improved athletic or physical performance? And maybe you want more time or money freedom for a better lifestyle. Now, to really live well, we all need two basic things: a body that can do whatever you ask it to do, and enough money for the freedom to make choices in life. To have that body or well-being you want, you might be exercising. You might have changed or modified your diet or be taking nutritionals. You might be doing everything you can think of, and you might not be doing anything at all, and that's okay. But frustratingly, no matter what you do, as you age, your cells respond less and less effectively to all of these strategies. Your cells begin to break down, producing less energy, taking longer to repair, and sometimes not repairing at all. So what if your cells could just be more efficient? If your exercise, nutrition, supplementation, and everything else you did could be more effective? You could be healthier, longer, with less effort. So how would that be? Well, several years ago, scientists made a groundbreaking discovery. They identified molecules your body produces inside every cell that helps them repair and regenerate. And once discovered, years of research and development went into figuring out how to stabilize these molecules outside of the body so they could be used to top up your redox levels, which deplete through the decades. The result is a molecular technology that helps your cells function better. And when your cells function better, everything works better. So any steps you're taking to improve your health become more effective. Nutritional supplementation works better, you feel better, you look better, you sleep better, and you have more energy. So right now we're going to hear from our special guest, whose name is Rita Yual, and she was interviewed by Kaye Cramond on her redox experience. So let me get to sharing my screen and making sure I have all the right things on for the video. And here we go. Oops. Want that, whatever that is. Okay.
Good evening, everybody. I'd just like to say hello and introduce you to our special guest this evening, Rita Yual. She's all the way from Oregon in a place called Hillsborough, and she's going to actually be able to give us her testimonial. And I'm just going to ask her a few questions and get us a little bit of background from Rita today.
Sorry guys, I'm just going to stop that because I'm trying to actually find my mixer thing and turn the sound up, and it's just not letting me do that. So.
Jane, the sound's very loud.
Is it loud? It's loud enough. Okay, in that case,
I think it is. Would everybody agree? Yeah, it's super loud. Like I'm trying to turn it down on my.
Okay.
Very loud.
I'll turn it down then.
Turn it down a little bit. Yeah.
I'm just trying to move this window away from the shape. Sorry, it's just doing weird things. All right. Apologise for this. I hate this when this does this. All right, let's see how that goes. All right. Tell me if this is any better. Maybe just give me a thumbs up if it's better.
So you actually started off in school very early on in a place called Canberra, Australia.
Still too loud?
Very loud. Yeah.
Jane, next to your play button to the right, you can see the volume controls right over to the left, to right. Just, yeah, that's it.
All right, cool.
On
my computer, it's not very loud. It's right down, but it's obviously the rest. So sorry to the recording, and I hate it when you do things like this, but there we go.
Can you tell a little bit about
And that's going to
that?
Yes, this was 60.
In fact, you know what? I'm going to take it back to the beginning because it's only 37 seconds. How does that sound? Was that better?
It's better, yeah. I mean, it's still quite loud, but it's better, I think.
All right. Sorry. 2 seconds. This is so frustrating. I hate it when I do things like this and stuff up.
That's okay. You've got an extra challenge of managing a recording. I'm very sympathetic because I've got to do it next week.
All right, let's take it away again, Kaye. Oh, gee. And I haven't got my mouse either. That's the other thing that's going wrong. All right, hopefully Fen can edit this.
Good evening, everybody. I'd just like to say hello and introduce you to our special guest this evening, Rita Yual. She's all the way from Oregon in a place called Hillsborough, and she's going to actually be able to give us her testimonial. And I'm just going to ask her a few questions and get us a little bit of background from Rita today. So you actually started off in school very early on in a place called Canberra, Australia. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yes, this was 68 years ago, and my father was working in Java, Indonesia, and Indonesia just got its independence. The Dutch left. I was in a Dutch school, first and second grade. So I was sent off to boarding school, Church of England Girls Grammar School in Canberra, Australia. So I did my third and fourth grade years there in 1951, 1952. The formative years, they must have given me good education because I had a really good life. And so I was there. Unfortunately, I've never been back since then, but I feel like I have a connection to Australia.
All these people here now, you're connected with all of us now, so that's fabulous. And you did a little bit of the outback too while you were here, so you've probably seen a bit more than the outback than a lot of other people sitting on this view tonight. So just want to get to your background. So when you grew up, and your background is in science. So if you just tell us a little bit about, your background.
Yes, I have a baccalaureate degree and some master's study as a clinical laboratory scientist. And I did that for 50 years. I'm retired now. And I spent 20 years doing laboratory tests in hospitals and clinics and doctors' offices. And then I spent 14 years inspecting laboratories for their certification, making sure the testing was done correctly, individuals qualified for what they were doing. And then the last 14 years were spent, I was actually managing the program of the certification of all the labs and the inspectors. And I still occasionally would go out on a complaint and do inspections. But I certainly saw the science change over that 50-year period, especially in the last 15 years with the DNA testing going on. That was so different from the type of lab work that we did 55 years ago when I started. So it was an amazing journey. So it doesn't surprise me at all the science that's coming along with the cell biology now.
Fabulous, absolutely fabulous. So how was your health before you were actually introduced to Azia? So we just tell you a little bit about your health.
Well, I worked till I was 71, so obviously I had pretty good health. I was able to function, and even after I retired, I went back 3 times to help out for 6-month stints. But then in the last 2 years, I started experiencing discomfort in my chest when I would start walking. And the discomfort would move and go back under my left shoulder blade and would become quite intense. And it started very subtle, but it kept getting worse with time. And then this last Christmas, while I was trying to do my Christmas shopping and do grocery shopping and plan for things, I found that I could barely walk from the parking lot into the store to do what I needed to do. And in a big store like Costco, I don't know if you have those in Australia, but
I've got my
I could only go to the front of the store and back where all the fruit and all the things were was just, I knew if I went all the way back there that pain would start again. So I'd only shop in the front of the store, try and get what I need done quickly and get back out to the car. Sometimes I had to leave my shopping cart and just get back to the car, because when I sat down, for 5 minutes later, the discomfort would subside and I would be okay. But if I did much after that, it could come back pretty fast. So I generally went home and rested. Because of the busy holiday season, and I was also having some problems waking up at night with pain in my lower legs. It would just wake me up out of my sleep. I was reluctant to contact my physician over the busy holiday season, so I really hadn't done anything about that. I hadn't seen anybody in a while. But otherwise, my health was good. I have a good positive attitude. I was just trying to deal with this discomfort when it came. And it could be pretty intense.
So what, before you actually got to your physician, and it was because it was over the Christmas time, what did you actually, you were taking and rubbing anything on your skin, or were you actually, you know, like a heat balm, or were you taking some pain relief, discomfort?
Well, you know, I found that if I took some ibuprofen and the discomfort hadn't gotten real bad, like I got down pretty quickly when it started, that the ibuprofen seemed to relieve what was starting. I also decided I better take a low-dose aspirin, so I did that. And then I tried to watch my diet a little bit better. A year before, I had done a vegan diet, and that had really helped, but I was not on the diet at that time. So that's about all. There really wasn't, I just had to stop what I was doing, the walking or the exercise, and just sit down until things resolved.
So your quality of life was compromised because you couldn't do very well at all, and you weren't socialising, and yeah, it was a low time. So how were you actually? Who introduced you to Azia, and you know, how did you find out about Azia?
Yes, in January, right after the holidays, a friend of mine who is also a clinical laboratory scientist, she actually has my job now and is a good friend, she had asked me to go to a meeting with her on Saturday. She said, there's something I've become aware of, and I just would like your opinion of what you think. Could this really be happening in the science? And so I went with her, and I was really fascinated by what I heard. So we went to the meeting that day. She sold me a bottle of product. I said, I want to try that. And I was particularly interested because of the study of the cardiovascular system. And then in early February, I went to another meeting that was being done. And at that point, I learned more. And I had also started watching some videos about ASEA and the company. In February, I signed up as an associate. I just went for it. And I didn't even hesitate about it. I thought, well, the cost there, I wanted my husband and I to both be taking it. But I thought, you know, that's just a priority. And we will make it work financially. So we always will now.
So the friend who took you, she also signed up as well, and
yes.
You haven't looked back. So you both have got the science background, and you still say go for it, which is absolutely fantastic. So what kind of dosages were you using with the Azia, and were you actually using any of the Renew 28 gel?
I started out, as suggested, with just 2 ounces in the morning and 2 ounces of ASEA in the evening. And then after about a week, I upped it to 3 ounces in the morning and 2 in the evening. And that's what I do to this day. Every now and then I might take a little bit during the day, but I do so well on this particular dosage for me that that's what I stick to.
So what did you actually notice that changed with that 30?
Yeah, it was amazing that for the first week or two, I don't think I really noticed anything. And then, surprisingly, after 2 weeks, I noticed I was able to walk farther without the discomfort starting. And I went in and I did my grocery shopping and I was able to finish and the pain hadn't come. And then that was about 2 weeks by the end of February. And I thought, my goodness, could that be because of the ASEA? So, and other than one event which I had, which I can tell you about later, I pretty much have not had any problems since then. And that was 5 months ago. So.
And you're using the gel? Where are you using the gel?
Yes, I started with my friend suggested I try the Renew 28, and just because we're all getting older, and also because I lived on the equator for a while. I have freckles and some brown spots on my face from having lived where I did when I was younger. And I thought, well, that would be great if some of that would fade away. So I use the ASEA the Renew 28 once or twice a day. And I also put it on my carotids right here, rub it on there good in the front of my neck and the back of my neck. I really don't use it. Every now and then I'll put a little bit on my hand because I have a little arthritis on one of my hands. But that's about it. It's mostly I just keep it for my face.
You were saying before that when we were having a bit of a chat that you're not putting the Renew 28 on any other parts of your body other than where you are, but you've noticed a difference in your skin tone because you're actually taking the ASEA. Do you want to explain a little bit about that?
Yes, that was actually my sister who lives in Colorado. She had started taking the product 2 months ago. She golfs a lot, she's outside a lot, and she commented to me just a couple of weeks ago. She said, what I've really noticed, well, she sleeps well through the night now, but that her skin, usually she was having to just put lots of lotion on. This time of year already, the sun's out quite strong. And she said, I love my skin, the texture and how moist it is. And I started noticing that about myself. And I just really hadn't noticed it before. And just in the last 2 weeks, I thought, oh my goodness, I'm the same way. And anyway.
So, outside in, but it's actually working.
Yeah, inside out, that's coming. I think that's fascinating.
So what actually, what's the difference that you've actually seen, in yourself, but what other things can you do now that you hadn't thought that you could do before? That you were having trouble with before that you can actually, there's extra things. What's the highlights?
Well, from as bad as I was getting back at Christmas, and I got my life back. I mean, that is an expression that I had never felt myself or realized how real that can be. And just with my circulation and things like that. I did any digestive issues were resolved. I was very happy with my gut health status. I said my skin was moisture. And what's neat, I don't have to worry about joining my daughter and my grandkids for a walk in the mall or walk in the park. Before I was saying, I don't think I want to go. I'll just stay in the car. You guys go, because I was afraid that my discomfort would start. But now, it's just fun. I'm able to go with them. I was going to tell you about my one experience that I did have some discomfort. I had gone to Arizona, and I had to walk a really long way in the Phoenix airport coming home. And then I had a really long walk in the Portland airport coming home. And I started to have some discomfort start again. And I was really surprised, but I realized I had not taken my ASEA that day because I was traveling, and I had given my sister, we were having a family get-together, I gave her my bottle, what I had left in it, because I wanted her to start using it. And I thought, well, I'll be home by night. I'll just take some at night. But with all the walking I had to do, and it just pushed it, and I did that evening, had a little discomfort, but
and so you're actually okay the next day. Yeah, but the next day you were fine again because you started it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you started using the skincare.
Mm-hmm.
And you like the skincare?
Oh yes. Well, I turned 76 just last week. Had a birthday, July 1st.
Congratulations.
I feel amazing, and I the Renew 28 or the Advance, I've used 2 sets. I've been through 2 sets of the serum and the moisturizer and program, and I just love the way my face feels, and I feel actually some of the brown spots have really faded away. They're hardly there at all, and I still have some lines, but
your skin looks lovely.
It's okay. I'm real happy
you
with.
were saying that you don't need to use your foundation as much because your skin's better.
And I'm happy about that because I always felt the foundation had tended to go into the creases, and it looked like you had foundation on, like an old lady, and which is okay. But I feel just leaving it more fresh after the moisturizer, and then I may just put a little bit of blush on or something.
That's very well, thank you so much for sharing your amazing story with everybody. It's not just a gel story; it's a ASEA, a gel, and an advanced story all in one. So you're not taking the biome, or are you taking the Via Source?
The Source is the only one I've tried, and I've only been doing that for 2 weeks. So I don't know. I haven't noticed what it does yet, but I kind of sort of quit taking all those vitamins, and being in the health business, I've kept up with, do we need to be taking this vitamin and that vitamin? We have cupboards full of magnesium and different products, and I just feel there's so much in the Source that I tend to just take that and maybe take a few other things, but I'm just not taking all those things I used to.
Yeah, we've actually found that for some people, like they could have been taking 4 or 5 different supplements at once. What is exactly in the Source. So they've had to, which is cheaper in the long run because they don't have to buy 5 products, they're only buying 1, and it's easier to take. So that's a good testimonial from you as well on the Source.
Yes.
And thank you so much for all your time. Absolutely stoked that you could be with us. I think I still think it's pretty awesome. It's in the afternoon here on a Friday afternoon. And it's Thursday evening.
I thought of something else. Those leg cramps and pains, they also went away at about the time after 2 to 3 weeks on the ASEA. So I forgot to tell you that. I think that's real important, not waking up in the middle of the night with cramps in the legs and things. No problems now. So
that's fabulous. I'm sure your testimonial will help many. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you in Las Vegas.
I want to go now.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so that was Kaye's meeting with Rita, and that came out of Kaye being at I think Ascent. I think she originally met Chuck in at convention last year, and he's introduced her to Rita, and so she's got a few more little gems lined up through that source. So it's one of the reasons to go to convention and aim to go to some of the other events that we get the opportunity to go to, is to meet some of these people and hear these amazing stories. So I should say that at this time it's important to state that ASEA products are not intended to diagnose, treat or cure any conditions. They simply empower cellular communication and hence cellular function. So as you know, we can't ask Rita any questions. If there is anything anybody wants to ask, please, pop it in the chat and I'll get it passed over to her. I just want to thank everybody for investing their time and being here this evening. And for those of you who are watching on replay as well, we really appreciate you taking the time to get yourself educated. And if you would like to know more, get your own redox experience. If you haven't already, then talk to whoever invited you along to the presentation. They'll be able to assist you in the ways to get started. We have these talks every Tuesday night at the same time with different guests. Next Tuesday, the fabulous Janine Bauskas is going to be talking to Eric and Francine from Albuquerque in the US of A. They will be telling how they recovered from injuries that they had already had for 5 years before they started on the redox, and as well as how it impacted some other chronic debilitating conditions. So please join us and invite others so that they can hear all about the endless possibilities that this breakthrough technology can have on their health and wealth and well-being. I'm just going to stop this recording.